Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to chapter 1 of the story of Apex Legends, and this is covering everything through season 1 going on to season 2, everything we can expect. There's been loads of talk about dragons, there's even more creatures than the flyers, we've got Prowlers that are apparently coming now, and I'm going to be going all over that. But first of all, I just want to say this is going to be a permanent feature to my channel. I'm going to be covering the storyline all in the future seasons, every little detail, so definitely hit that notification bell especially and subscribe. But if you don't really know what's going on at the moment, I'm going to break down the story with a quick introduction that will let you know exactly what is going on with everything within Apex Legends. Now, first of all is an introduction to where am I and why am I on this island. There's a lot of people just playing the Battle Royale game, fair enough, but this is just going to let you know where it all comes from. And we are all in the universe of Titanfall, in which the IMC faction is fighting this militia, and it's an all-out war in the Frontier War. And as named, this is all happening in the Frontier, and this is like an entire solar system, galaxy, loads of planets. If you're a Titanfall fan, you know what I'm talking about. And one of these outposts, these far-reach planets on the outskirts of the Frontier, is Solace, and that brings us to King's Canyon. And essentially, the IMC set up camp here. They set up all this water treatment, air base. You've got relay, repulsor, market for food. They set up this entire island so it was like self-sufficient, this whole outpost. And there was even like a society started like growing there. You've got all the houses and that around. But basically, wars end. And the Frontier War is over. After decades of conflict between the IMC and the militia founded to fight them, the region of space known as the Frontier can finally see peace. But liberation can come at a cost. The Frontier worlds were left barren by the war, and promised aid dwindled to nothing. With no way to support themselves, those who remained had no choice but to leave their homes. The brave relocated to the Outlands, a remote cluster of planets on the fringes of the Frontier. The Outlands are untouched by war and teeming with resources and opportunity, and essentially they set up the Apex games, this blood sport. And this is where you've got all of your legends. They come from far reaches of the Frontier to compete. And we know this planet is called Solace because with the recent Watson, she comes from the planet Solace. This is her homeworld. And from the intro, from the EA announcement, they said that she grew up in King's Canyon. And unless she was born somewhere else and moved like maybe a year later or something, we're fairly sure that King's Canyon is the planet Solace. And that brings us to the present day, chapter 1, season 1, Rosie and the Leviathans. Now, these Leviathans have basically been in the game since day one. We've all seen them sitting in that southeast corner, just relaxing, doing their thing, and we kind of always knew that they were gonna like come into the map at some point. There's been a few teasers. But these all came from like the storyline, the universe of Titanfall. As I said, we are in the universe of Titanfall. And as you can see, like through the images, the gameplay, you can see these massive Leviathans everywhere. And basically, these were on a planet called Leviathan. And somehow they managed to travel to a few different planets. Some people think it's through scientific research. Through like the IMC taking over with all these scientific outposts and stuff. And basically we now have them on Solace in King's Canyon, and there is a lot more coming. But basically on the actual King's Canyon map, there's these giant, what we assume are Leviathan skeletons all around the map. At Skulltown, you've got one that does an entire circle around the place, and then it almost looks like its tail carries on going underneath the sand. You've got that bone sticking out there, and it almost makes me wonder if this might get blown away and uncovered at some point down the storyline. As you can see up in this area towards artillery, towards swamps, there's loads of rib cages all over these areas. And in real life you have something called an elephant graveyard, and this almost looks similar to that. It looks like a Leviathan graveyard island where they come to kind of die or something. But what I'm most likely assuming it to be is when the IMC took over the island and they had to kill a bunch off. But basically, we've been teased since season 1 in this like origin loading screen, like play thing where you go, you can see the Leviathans are on the map, and this has been teased for ages. We've all been waiting. Lo and behold, shortly after the EA announcement happened the other day, I get in to play some Apex, and I noticed 2 Leviathans are on the move. Now, if you look at both of them, take note that they're both facing right. And you've got the one on the right, he's walked off miles. The one on the left looks like he hasn't moved, but look at this. So the 2 images here, the Leviathan on the left has always been facing forward, yet the 2 Leviathans now are facing right. So what I'm assuming is the one on the left that was facing north, he's the one that went for walkies, while the one that was already facing right just stayed there. And basically, a lot of people are wondering if this is what Apex released as Rosie. Now, they released this Twitter message and it says L001 is moving southbound at a rate of 10 clicks per hour after a 16-hour reset interval. This is yet another significant reset time reduction. We suspect L001 is exhibiting signs of territorial behavior or distress. We will continue gathering data and attempt to determine the cause. Now, if you take a closer look up in the top right corner, you will also see what's wrong with Rosie. And that's why a lot of people are assuming this Leviathan is Rosie because it's on the move. But it said it was going southbound. Let's take a look. If you take a look at the actual Leviathans here, they're not going south, are they? They're going west, and not only that, a day later, the Leviathans have moved again, and yes, both of them have moved. The one on the right has started heading north, and the one on the left has actually started coming in a little bit. Now, I did obviously have to go and check on these Leviathans, but the thing is, that message said the creature, or L001, was heading southbound. Yet none of these Leviathans have gone southbound. They also said a certain like mile per hour clicks or distance, and someone pointed out on Reddit that that doesn't match up with how fast these Leviathans are traveling. But as you can see, some people haven't noticed this Leviathan on the left has started moving, and that brings us on to like some theories and stuff. Chapter 1, Season 1, what's to come for Season 2, that kind of thing. And basically, we've all heard about these flyers. These are, again, Titanfall universe, and I think they all work in very similar ways. And this has definitely been confirmed by, like, the trailer from the end of Watson. You can see the flyer flying off there, just as you can see the Leviathans in the map with the Season 1 screen. Now, let's come back to this for 2 seconds, because this is where we get new creatures. So, this actually says heading southbound. And then obviously there's the distance. And a lot of people think it's this creature. People are thinking this is not a Leviathan. They think it's going to be a separate dragon that's heading from the north. And this has also been leaked. Brilliant job by Datamine Super Dave. I kind of don't mind this leak because it is actually a weapon skin. He's just got the better graphic for it. But it actually shows like King's Canyon, Leviathan, Prowler, Flyer. It shows them all over the map if you want to take a minute to pause that. And it even says North up on the top. And I'm wondering if that's maybe the dragon's name, where it's coming from, because that's North, right? But these are the Prowlers. These are the new creatures that apparently we might be seeing along with the Flyers, along with the Leviathans, along with possibly a dragon. There's so much coming. But moving on to the final point of this video, our little story, and that is extra details. You know me, if you watch my videos, I love to do stupid stuff and test everything out thoroughly, and you know I've got to try and travel over to the Leviathan. I tested this on all of the different Leviathan positions, and this was the closest one I could find to get. As you can see, as soon as you start to get too close, you hit this invisible wall and just head straight down into the water. What I also thought was funny was the fact that the Leviathans seem to be floating on top of water. Now, I can't get there myself, but if Mirage, he's got decoys. So I fired off a couple decoy missiles to see if it would do anything, and no, the Leviathans have no physical body, it's just a visual at the moment, so obviously the Mirages are just going to go straight through. And then the last little bit is basically the animations that the Leviathan is doing at the moment. The first one is just a tiny little foot raise, shake of the head. And then the next one, he does this big old shake of the head, a roar as you saw before. And then he lifts his leg up in the air like, should I go for a walk? Actually, no, I'm not. But as I said, I'm going to keep you up to date with every little detail as you've seen in this video. So definitely like if you enjoyed, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment. But other than that, see you later.
Hi YouTube. Please leave a subscribe and drop a fat like.